If you're thinking about living in Mexico, but you still have doubts, and Mexico Relocation Guide, we explore many parts of Mexico to help you decide. Now, Mexico is vibrant, it's big, it's full of contrasts and culture, and every corner has its own unique essence. Comencemos! Now, Sayulita is a pueblo mágico located in the Bahía de Banderas, which is in southern Nayarit on the Pacific coast of Mexico. It has a bohemian, retro hippie, and laid-back vibe. It's a small town with about 5,000 permanent residents, so you can imagine it's pretty small. Now, the population increases significantly during the high season, which runs usually from November through April, causing prices not only to go up, but it attracts a lot of tourism, travelers, and of course, nationals from other parts of Mexico. Now, the low season is usually from May to October, and usually you will see a reduction in costs to rent or cost for long-term rentals. You will also see fewer people, and some businesses may even temporarily close. Now, Sayulita draws international visitors, making it a multicultural community where English and Spanish are widely spoken, not only amongst tourists, but also a lot of locals, especially in places like hotels, restaurants, and boutique shops. Now, this makes communication easier for those of you who do not speak Spanish fluently, but learning the language is always going to be your most rewarding option if you're going to be living in Mexico full-time. So you see, Sayulita combines the best of tourism with coastal authenticity, offering paradise beaches, surfing, art, and a vibrant community that wins over travelers from all over the world. So what kind of weather can you expect when living in Sayulita? Well, as you can expect, any town on the beach is going to have a humid tropical climate with warm temperatures pretty much every day of the year. Now, the average temperature in Sayulita ranges from 65 degrees Fahrenheit to 93 degrees Fahrenheit in the hottest months. Now, the hottest months are usually from May through September. And the lows are like in the mid-70s in the middle of the night, and highs will get in the mid-90s. The humidity in this time of year is very high, and the heat can feel very intense. Now, the rainy season usually runs from June through October, and the temperatures do vary between the mid-70s and mid-90s, but rain tends to come in short but intense storms in the afternoons or the evenings. So a lot of people usually run their errands during the day to avoid these evening showers. Now, keep in mind that Sayulita is on the Pacific coast, so it is in a hurricane-prone area. The good news is that direct hits are pretty rare. Now, when thinking about moving to Sayulita, you'll probably wonder which area is best to live in. And while it's not as well known as other retirement spots like San Miguel de Allende or Ajijic or La Paz, this coastal town has attracted many retired foreigners looking for a more relaxed life near the ocean. Now, the town is basically divided into two areas by a small bridge that crosses a creek. So unlike other bigger cities or bigger towns, it doesn't really have unique neighborhoods. Now, past the bridge is the tourist area, which is full of boutique hotels, bars, beach clubs, restaurants, and pharmacies. Here, you'll also find plenty of ATMs and the main beach access points. It's a lively area, especially on weekends and during high season, with music and activities lasting late into the night. But if you prefer a quieter lifestyle, the constant buzz and cobblestone streets can be challenging unless you're prepared with the right shoes and transport. So, just keep that in mind if you're going to live in one of the most touristic areas of Sayulita. Now, rents here range anywhere between $1,000 for small lofts with ocean views to about $2,500 per month for larger homes. On the other side of the bridge, closer to the main town, is a quieter residential area with slightly lower prices. Now, this is where you'll find Supermercado Olin, which sells both local and imported products. So if that's really important to you, you might want to be considering that. Now, housing options in this area include shared rooms, which is actually really quite common in Sayulita. And those usually go for around $250 a month. But if you want a little more privacy, there are apartments or houses that rent for $750 to about $1,500 per month. If you're looking for larger homes with better views, you'll find them on the hillier areas. though access can be tricky due to the steep, mostly unpaved roads, so maybe having a 4x4 will be necessary. Now, rentals over $2,500 a month aren't uncommon here, so just keep that in mind, especially if they offer amenities like ocean views, they're much larger homes, they're in very exclusive gated communities. So just keep in mind that rents can vary a lot depending on where in Sayulita you live. Now, for utilities, electricity is provided by the Federal Electricity Commission, also known as the CFE. And depending on how much you use appliances and air conditioning, you can expect to pay anywhere between $40 to $175 per billing cycle. Now, keep in mind that the CFE usually bills every 2 months. Some residents install solar panels to save money, especially during the hottest months, and they usually do see the payoff relatively soon. Now for water, you can expect to pay anywhere between $8 to $30 depending on your usage, the size of your home, and then of course depending on what type of system you have. Now, installing a water tank or a cistern is very helpful, especially depending on where you live and if that's available or an option. Gas is used for heating, water, and cooking. So keep that in mind that you will use gas a lot in Mexico for a lot of things other than running your air conditioning. Now, gas usually comes in refillable tanks and costs usually around $20 to $30 per refill, depending on the tank size and then depending, of course, on the size of your home. One tank usually lasts 1 to 2 months. Now, internet plans are available from Telmex, Easy, Total Play. You also have Starlink, and these usually cost anywhere between $25 to $75 depending on the speed that you need. Keep in mind that during high season, the infrastructure can get overloaded, leading to some water shortages or lower quality electricity and internet service. But with proper preparation, like having solar panels, your own water tank, and moderate energy use, most people manage just fine. Now, one thing that I think you'll really like about Sayulita is that it has a local small town feel. You won't find big chains or malls, just small stores and family-run markets for basic goods. So for those of you who really enjoy that and you want a beach town, Sayulita might just be it. Now, what kinds of options do you have? Well, you have Supermercado Olin, which is located at the town's entrance. It's the main supermarket that sells both imported and Mexican products. Now, you also have mini markets around town that sell fruits, vegetables, dairy, groceries, and you have carnicerias like Trancos, which offer fresh cuts of beef, chicken, and pork, as well as local cheeses and spices. Now, one big thing in Mexico that you'll probably get used to is having fresh tortillas every day. And in every town and every city in Mexico, you will see tortillerias scattered around. Now here, local tortillerias make fresh tortillas daily, which, again, many expats have grown to love. You also have seafood shops that sell fish and shrimp caught fresh from the Pacific, including red snapper and shrimp, which are very popular in Mexican cooking. And then for convenience stores, you have Oxxo and Kiosco, which are useful for not only buying snacks, drinks, but you can also pay some of your bills here. Now, if you need more variety, you can head to Bucerias, which is about 30 minutes away. And this town has larger stores like La Comer, Chedraui, Soriana. But still, many people enjoy the relaxed shopping vibe in Sayulita, even if the costs are a little bit elevated or it limits your options. There's a lot in the convenience of just having things nearby. And if you really want to support local shopping, there's a Mercado del Pueblo, which is run from November through May. And this is Sayulita's very own farmers market. It usually runs from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Now, this market needs volunteers to help set up and break down each week. So if you're in town and you want to be a part of the community, maybe you want to volunteer. Now, even though Sayulita may seem like a small tourist town, you will be surprised by how good healthcare is in this town and then, of course, in the surrounding major cities, which offer more specialized care. For example, For minor emergencies and just to go to an in-and-out clinic and pharmacies, Sayulita is great. But for specialized care, people will usually go to Bucerias or Puerto Vallarta. Now for pharmacies, you have Farmacias PBR and Farmacias Similares, which both offer generic and name brand medications as well as basic first aid items, enough for common health issues. Now, St. Luke's Hospital in Sayulita is located near the edge of town. It's open 24/7 for emergencies and general checkups that usually cost around $75 out of pocket without insurance. This hospital offers x-rays, it does have a lab on site, and it has some basic hospital beds. You also have the Sayulita Health Clinic next to the gas station, which does offer urgent care, lab work, ambulance service, and it even has availability of home visits. Now, if you're enrolled in IMSS, you can go to the local clinic for general care, but it is limited, and do know that wait times can be long. It just depends on the day of the week and then how many people are they receiving that day. Now, for more serious issues, a lot of people will go to the CMQ Rivera Nayarit Hospital in Bucerias, which is 30 minutes away. It has specialists in orthopedics, cardiology, and it has a 24/7 emergency room. Puerto Vallarta, though it is further, has more advanced medical centers, which is reassuring for those with more complex medical needs. Now, many expats recommend getting private health insurance that covers emergencies, transportation, and hospital stays, as Sayulita's infrastructure might not be large enough for everything. And then, of course, a lot of those things that you need to get done on a just outpatient procedures and less of an emergency type of medical care, they really do pay for those things out of pocket because medical care in Mexico in general is very affordable, except for when it comes to emergencies. So if you're interested in learning more about what options you have as a foreigner moving to Mexico, make sure you check out this video that we did with an expert answering some of your most pressing questions on healthcare in Mexico. So now let's get into how will you get around. Now, getting around Sayulita is really easy since it is a small town, but there are a few things to keep in mind. Starting with cobblestones. Now, most streets are cobblestone, which does make it harder to drive and park, especially during high season. And many people do walk or use golf carts to get around, but of course, just keep in mind that because it is cobblestones, a lot of you might not be used to walking on these. So we do recommend please using sturdy shoes, flat shoes, if this is your first time walking in and around Sayulita. Now for golf carts, these carts aren't allowed on highways, so they're only good within Sayulita. Other people use motorcycles, which are easy to park and move around, though the cobblestones can be tough if you're not used to them. Now, taxis within town usually cost around $6, but if you're heading to another town like Bucerias or Puerto Vallarta or somewhere else, it's best to agree on the price ahead of time since there are no meters or fixed fares. Now, there is a small bus station near the town entrance that connects to other parts of the Riviera Nayarit and Puerto Vallarta. And these fares usually go from $1 to $3 depending on the distance. Now, apps like Uber or Didi don't operate here, and the ones that do are very unreliable. Some people do report being able to get an Uber from Puerto Vallarta to Sayulita, and maybe you will get lucky and that Uber will take you from Sayulita somewhere else, but it's not very reliable. So taxis and buses are your main option if you don't have a car. For flights, or if you want to fly in, there is the Puerto Vallarta International Airport, which is an hour away, and then you also have the Tepic Airport, which is about 2 hours away. Now, people who travel abroad often prefer the Puerto Vallarta International Airport for better flight options, more connecting flights, more international direct flights, and still many choose Sayulita for its small size and low traffic because there is no airport in town. It does kind of separate it a little bit from some of those international flights and that international traffic. But nonetheless, it is a thriving and growing town which does see its bursts of tourism. So do keep that in mind that if you are looking for the sleepiest of beach towns, this might not be it. But it does have that small beach town charm that a lot of people are after. Now, of course, once you're here, how will you spend your days? Well, for quieter beach days, we recommend checking out Playa Los Muertos, which any taxi can take you to if you don't want to walk here and if you don't have a car. Now, unlike other spots on the Pacific coast, you will not find giant malls or big venues. Instead, there are bars, beach clubs, and small venues that offer either a lively or a quiet night depending on the time of the year. High season in Sayulita runs from November through April, and it brings a lot of visitors and surfers, creating a festive vibe with full venues, special events, crowded streets. So it's fun to be here even if you aren't into the surfer vibe or you're not a surfer yourself. It's just a fun activity and a fun way to meet people that might be passing by. Now, in the quieter low season from May through October, some places do close down, which makes it a peaceful time to connect with nature and for people to just reconnect with their local community. During the day, you can walk along Calle Delfines, admire the colorful decorations, and shop for crafts, assuming that, of course, your favorite craft store is not closed. Now, for more adventure, some people really like visiting the Marietta Islands and the famous Hidden Beach, which is great for snorkeling and diving. And then if you visit between December and March, don't miss a chance to see humpback whales. It's a stunning sight that many people say they will never forget. Now, regardless of whether you are a tourist or a local, maybe some of these things seem more touristy to you on a daily basis. So if you want to get involved and volunteer in Sayulita, there are numerous different charities that you can join, starting with Sayulita Animals, which is an animal welfare organization based in Sayulita. And it has veterinarians and post-operative caregivers to dog walkers, photographers, and designers. So they're always looking for volunteers for it all. Now you can help Sayulita Animals by fostering a dog or cat or finding them a forever home. You can visit them at sayulitaanimals.org. There's also Pro Sayulita, which is an organization of donors and members and volunteers who work to improve the safety of Sayulita by working with providing facility funding for local law enforcement, medical personnel, and sometimes even firefighters. So if you want to see how you can help, visit them at prosayulita.com. Now, of course, even with all its charm, Sayulita is not perfect, and it comes with a few challenges. For starters, the limited infrastructure can lead to water shortages, some power outages, or weak internet during its high season. And tourism does drive up the cost of housing and services, which does make it harder to find affordable long-term rentals if you're coming at that time of the year. Also, the centro, or the downtown area, can be noisy late into the night. And the cobblestone streets can be tough for walking, especially for people who have mobility issues. Now, since there are no rideshare apps like Uber, you will have to rely on taxis. But they are everywhere and easy to find, so there's really not a problem. You just have to get out of your comfort zone of using rideshare apps. Now, during the low season, many places do shut down, and the town gets very quiet. Now, for some of you, that might be the best thing that could happen, and for some, they might find it boring. And then also, if you expect big city amenities, you may be disappointed in Sayulita. Sayulita is still a growing town, and its services don't always keep up with the tourist demand. But it is a town after all, and it has its charm. It has its special style all on its own. The best way to find out if Sayulita, or any city in Mexico for that matter, is right for you is to come and experience it in person. That's why we recommend going on a private Mexico relocation tour. That way you get with a local expert who can give you a true feel for what daily life is like. And if you're not quite ready to take a scouting trip, no worries. Our free Moving to Mexico email series is a great place to start. It's packed with helpful tips, up-to-date information on residency visas, and important information you need to know before moving to Mexico. The links to all of our resources are in the comments of this video, or you can also go to mexicorelocationguide.com. So whether you're dreaming about the beach or still figuring out your next step, we've got resources to guide you every step of the way. If you like this video on Sayulita, don't forget to give it a like. And if you haven't subscribed, please make sure you do so. That way you never miss an update on moving to Mexico from all of us at Mexico Relocation Guide. My name is Mariana, amigos, and this is not goodbye. This is just an hasta luego. I will see you all in our next video. Nos vemos!